The history of jazz, from New Orleans to the world. Welcome back to Threads and Tunes, where we explore the rich tapestry of music that shapes our world. Today, we're diving into a genre that has captivated hearts and minds for over a century: jazz. From its vibrant birth in New Orleans to its global influence today, the history of jazz is a fascinating journey filled with innovation, culture, and creativity. Jazz music emerged in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, a melting pot of African American musical traditions, blues, ragtime, and European influences. The streets of New Orleans, with their lively parades and diverse communities, provided the perfect backdrop for this new sound. It was in this city that musicians began experimenting with rhythm, improvisation, and syncopation, laying the groundwork for what would become jazz. One of the key figures in the early jazz scene was Louis Armstrong. His trumpet playing and unique vocal style helped to define the genre. Armstrong's ability to improvise and his charismatic stage presence made him a beloved performer, not just in America, but around the world. His influence can still be heard in jazz today, as he paved the way for future generations of musicians. As jazz began to spread beyond New Orleans, it took on various forms. In the 1920s, the genre found a new home in Chicago, where clubs and speakeasies became the heart of the jazz scene. This era gave rise to talented artists like Jelly Roll Morton and Earl Hines, who pushed the boundaries of jazz with their innovative compositions and improvisational skills. The music was evolving, and soon it would capture the attention of the entire nation. The 1930s ushered in the swing era, characterized by its big bands and danceable rhythms. Artists like Duke Ellington and Count Basie became household names, filling dance halls with their infectious sounds. The swing era not only popularized jazz music, but also made it an essential part of American culture. Jazz was no longer just a regional phenomenon, it was a national sensation. As the decades rolled on, jazz continued to evolve. The bebop movement of the 1940s introduced a more complex and sophisticated style, led by pioneers such as Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie. This new approach focused on intricate melodies and fast tempos, challenging musicians to showcase their technical skills and creativity. Bebop laid the foundation for modern jazz and influenced countless musicians in various genres. By the 1950s and 1960s, jazz was becoming a global phenomenon. Artists like Miles Davis and John Coltrane pushed the boundaries even further, exploring modal jazz and free jazz. These innovators were not afraid to experiment with form and structure, often blending jazz with elements of rock, funk, and world music. This period was marked by a spirit of exploration and a desire to break free from traditional constraints. Jazz festivals began to spring up around the world, celebrating this dynamic genre and its diverse artists. From the Newport Jazz Festival in the United States to Montreux in Switzerland, these events showcased the rich variety of jazz styles and attracted audiences from all walks of life. Jazz was no longer confined to the clubs, it was now a global celebration of creativity and expression. In recent years, jazz has continued to evolve, embracing new technologies and influences. Contemporary artists draw from a wide range of genres, blending hip-hop, electronic music, and even classical elements into their work. This fusion keeps jazz fresh and relevant, appealing to new generations of listeners while honoring its rich heritage. As we look back at the history of jazz, we see a genre that has not only shaped the musical landscape, but has also served as a powerful voice for social change. Jazz musicians have often used their art to address issues of race, inequality, and injustice, making the genre an important part of cultural movements throughout history. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of jazz. We hope you've enjoyed exploring how this incredible genre has evolved from its roots in New Orleans to its status as a global musical force. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to Threads and Tunes for more musical explorations. Until next time, keep listening and keep celebrating the magic of music.